praises unto Yahweh Shem Shai. Double honors to the apostles of GMS. Honest chief officers will be pushing this truth in sincerity. This is going to be maybe and hopefully Yahweh Shem Shai Rotazar, one of the first of hopefully some more sort of study tips, and as I get new techniques into getting into these things, as the Most High has it to where the elders reveal more tips about getting into this truth, then hopefully I'll add on to this series. But I'm gonna entitle this one, study technique 1, adding color to the scriptures. Okay, because sometimes you read the scriptures and I fall victim to it a lot of times, and what you want to do is just get the quick understanding of it. All right, but really when you get into, especially dealing with the book of the Chronicles, book of the Kings, Samuel, and so on and so forth, you can have a lot compounded into one chapter, but you might have had maybe 20 years of history there. Okay, so I'm going to entitle this first video adding color to the scriptures. I'm going to use an example, just basic example, and hopefully the message of really trying to go and getting the broad understanding as opposed to just the finite understanding, which is good, especially if you're new to this thing. You just want the finite quick points, and those quick points are good in setting forth the foundation. But once you really get those precepts down on lock, you really want to get into some of the more meatier aspect of the scriptures. The scripture does say you ain't supposed to be seeking out that's too deep for you, but everybody should have some kind of key understanding of the history. And here's a technique into doing that. Not saying I've perfected it, not saying I have it. It's just a technique that I found it yesterday, but I thought it would be needful to share. Okay, so I start off in the book of 2 Timothy, the 2nd chapter and the 15th verse. It says, "Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." So things that I think about when I think about that scripture, you're gonna have people calling you up, telling you, look, let's do this, that, and the third. You ain't gonna be ashamed to say no to them, so you can rightly divide the scripture. You got guys out there that go incorrectly divide this truth. You gotta rightly divide the scriptures, man. All right. Now I'm not saying the source material that I use is on point. I'm not saying how I break it down is on point, because for all I know, somebody could ring me up and say you gotta take that video down and do this, that, and the third, because you've done it incorrectly. But through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, hopefully it's still going to be edifying. Okay, so I'm going to use this example in the book of 2 Kings, the 15th chapter, and I'm starting here at, I'm going to start a little bit higher than that. I'm going to start at about the 8th verse, and it says, "In the 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Zechariah the son of Jeroboam reigned. Did Zechariah the son of Jeroboam reign over Israel in Samaria for 6 months, and he did that which was evil as his father had done, and departed not away from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. And Shalom the son of Japheth conspired against him, and smote him before the people, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the acts of Zechariah, behold, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? This was the word which the Lord spake, which Yahweh he spake unto Jehu, saying, Thy sons shall sit on the thrones of Israel unto the 4th generation, and it shall come to pass." All right, I'm read a little bit more. It says, "In Shallum, right, the son of Jabesh, began to reign in the 9th and 30th year of Uzziah, king of Judah, and he reigned for a full month in Samaria. For Manahem, this is going to be this individual Manahem, is going to be the principle of this, the technique I'm going to show you. For Manahem, the son of Gadi, went up to Tizpur, and came to Samaria, and smote Shallum, right, the son of Jabesh, in Samaria, and slew him, and reigned in his stead." Okay, it says, and the rest of the acts of Shallum and his conspiracy which he had made behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the king. It says, Menahem smote Tishper, and all that was therein in the coast of Tishper, because he opened not to because they opened not to him, therefore he smote it, and all the women therein, and that were with child he ripped up. Okay, so you're looking at a couple of it's a couple of lines, but really it goes into quite a different aspects of history, which I'm not going to go into all of those different aspects of history, because that's not the purpose of this lesson. This is supposed to be adding color to it. So really what you're having in these few sentences is some drama, man. Okay, and that's what you gotta, when you read the scriptures in Yahweh Shem Yahushai Ratazai, he opens that part of the spirit unto me. You really gotta put yourself as if you was there, man. Okay, and if you in so doing, you really get this understanding, this kind of understanding, of which when I read it, all of that we read here in just brief is going to be expounded upon. You could be like, whoa, wow, man, that's a lot of, because the scripture talks about how wise men have a way of saying a lot in a little. How much more so the men that wrote down the scriptures, man. Okay, so really when you start adding the color to it, all right, you really get to see what what's really going on out here. So it says that in the Bible, okay, which is the history of the man Menahem, okay, it says 10 years Menahem's 10 years reign is told in 2 Kings 15 and 14. It says, and when Shallum conspired against and assassinated Zechariah and Samaria, and he set himself upon the throne in the northern kingdom, Menahem, who like Shallum had served as a captain in Zechariah's army, refused to recognize him as a murderous usurper. Okay, so now as you're reading that, you started to think, movies that you watched about the ancient world, and you had two captains, one conspired against the king, usurped the king, and you had the one guy that was loyal unto the king. And as you're reading here, he didn't recognize him as the king, man. All right, it says Menahem marched from Tizar, right, to Samaria, about 6 miles westward, and laid siege on Samaria. He took the city and murdered Shallum a month into his reign. Okay, which is, like I said, this is all linked up with the scriptures, and set himself upon the throne according to the Josephus. He was a general of the army of Israel. Okay, and he says he brutally suppressed a revolt in Tishpa. He destroyed the city which had not been. He destroyed the city which has not been located, and put all the inhabitants to death. Even ripped open the pregnant women. Okay, it says the prophet Hosea described the drunkenness and debauchery in Impaled words. So pretty much, sometimes they go off when they try to get spiritual about it. But now you're kind of seeing that what was said here, and that little amount, when you come to the individual's name, and that's really the technique, and you Google it, you're gonna get all the info, because people always think, what books do these deep brothers, starting first with the elders and brothers that you look up to, I think it's sometimes too, man, what book are they reading? But really, when you ask them, they'll probably tell you that they'll come to a point within the scriptures, for instance, that, okay, simply, as you see it here, copy it, search it, and then you can stand back and say, well, actually, there was a lot going on there, man. All right, there was conspiracy against the king. All right, there was a usurping of the king. Right, the king was taken out of the position that he was in. Right, and the usurper sat upon the throne, and he reigned for the space of 1 month, man. All right, and then after that month was passed, you had it to where he's co-captain, right, in Zechariah's army, rose up against him and reigned 10 years in his stead, man. So that's dramatic, man. And when you really read it like that, when you read it in this fashion, you get to see the full color and the full breadth of what's going on. Okay, now one thing I would caution, you really have to have you have to have your foundation set up, because Lord's will, I don't fall victim to it as well. Yahweh Shemi Al you can have it to where they can make a statement, you know, dealing with the prophecies or whatever, and try to link it up to this, and they might not be talking about that. That's why you gotta have the foundation thereof. But see, because we're dealing with the history, we can just, you know, all of this lines up to what it says in the book of Second Kings, the 15th chapter. Only that we've just expounded upon it and written it and read it in a fashion to where even the average person can see the dramatic acts that are going on here, man. And another thing, when you read it like this, it's a bit, it's monotonous, man. All right, and that's why when the elders, when they break it down, they pretty much say what's going on here, man. They pretty much say it in that fashion because, like I said, we're trying to, you're trying to condense quite a lot of history into a small amount of space as possible. Of course, for you to see the picture of what's going on there, you really have to expound upon it. All right, so that was just an example. Really, was what was being said and who did what this time. The third wasn't relevant. Pretty much what I was trying to show you is a small technique you can add to your daily study routine when you come up to a word or an individual or place or a name that you don't really know or understand, or you want to get into it a little bit more or really see what's going on. You could just Google it, man. The most I set up the Google to have all the information that was ever written in any book easily accessible to you. For the most part, certain realms of so-called knowledge, you can't search up the prophecies and the breakdowns of it and go to a website and it's going to be there. But guess what? You got the videos to where you can do that. So you got all the tools that you need, man. All right. So with that, I'm gonna say all praise unto Yahweh Shemi Hashai, double honors to the apostles of GMS. Honor you brothers to be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.